Hello and welcome back to What Am I Tolkien About? If you haven't watched the Riddle 12 video yet, don't be hasty, there's a link in the description. That being said, spoiler alert, this is a riddle answer video. If you want a chance to guess before the answer is revealed, now's your chance. Before we get into it, it's prudent to inform you that I'll be putting all names associated with correct guesses through a random drawing to see who wins the Tolkien-themed merch prize as advertised in previous videos. The winner will be announced on or about June 1st with a brief announcement video, including a recap of the riddle season. Good luck to all of you. All right, you've been waiting, and here it is, the answer to Riddle 12. Bilbo's Diary, or The Red Book of Westmarch. For those of you who answered correctly, well done. For all of you, here's what I'm talking about. First stanza. My mind is all memory, I'm never to learn, a teacher of history with many a turn. In the first few lines, I wanted to get the idea of past tense exposition conveyed. In the last line, I used turn to convey both the ideas of stories that take a turn and the idea of a page turning, the first direct clue to the nature of the object. Next stanza. I sing all the songs, I tell all the tales, though not the composer, 'tis I who regales. If you've ever read the books, which I'm sure many of you have, Tolkien included many songs sung by various characters. I used meta in this riddle's description to denote a clue of a self-referential nature. Bilbo's Red Book is a lore device in the story that reflects back upon Tolkien as a mere translator of the myth contained within. The songs are a great example of the journaling Bilbo did in order to relay the story within. Very meta. As in the first stanza, I distinguished the object's contents from its own will, ergo never to learn, and in this stanza, not the composer. I wanted the object to come across as containing the essence of the story without contributing to it. Up next. In youth I was lonely, in search of a home, arrived and returned with heirloom of Rome. Here's where I begin to relay chronology to the object. The first line contains a word clue, lonely as in the lonely mountain. This alludes to The Hobbit, or as titled in Bilbo's journal, There and Back Again. Well, sort of. In the chapter The Grey Havens from the Return of the King, the title entry is described thusly. The title page had many titles on it, crossed out one after another. So, My Diary, My Unexpected Journey, There and Back Again, and What Happened After. Adventures of Five Hobbits, The Tale of the Great Ring, compiled by Bilbo Baggins from his own observations and the accounts of his friends. What We Did in the War of the Ring. Arrived and returned is a restatement of There and Back Again. In the last line, a foreshadowing of chapters to come, mentioning the heirloom. Onward. The heirloom at center of memories next. Heirlooms ere after received it vexed. This stanza continues the heirloom theme, referencing the One Ring. In the third and fourth line, a clue to the ownership of the object changing hands, in this case Bilbo reluctantly passing it on to Frodo by way of Gandalf. This is where the object begins referencing itself as transitioning from contents of The Hobbit to the contents of The Lord of the Rings. Onward still. Maturing a fellow, aged twice I would rise, returning quite royal with heirloom's demise. In this stanza, I reference the installments of The Lord of the Rings in order. Fellow is a reference to the Fellowship of the Ring. Twice, a loose reference to the Two Towers. In the third line, a deconstruction of the Return of the King. The last line mentions the destruction of the ring as it occurred in the final installment. And next. An heirloom myself, I blush at the thought, but proud, I suppose, for all I have taught. The object turns inward and self-describing in this stanza in blush, to allude to being the Red Book of Westmarch. As a book, it's a tool for instruction. in this case, a history of Middle-earth and the struggles of its inhabitants. To the penultimate. First two employers, now much further west, then third employer, first time to invest. The chronology of the book centers now on its eventual passing to Samwise after both Bilbo and Frodo are offered passage to Valinor. Valinor is in the west, very far, ergo much further west. The third employer is Sam, who is offered Bag End as well as the book and encouragement to contribute to its contents over time. And finally, employ me he would, for love of their land, a history of histories, passed hand down to hand. Tolkien was described by his biographers having wanted to create an English myth. The most meta aspect of the Red Book of Westmarch is how we, much like Samwise, have in some way continued to contribute to his myth. Consider how many other works include aspects of his world to tell their own story. Even this riddle show, in a small way, is an expression of continuance and contribution to his wonderful world, if not at least a tribute to it. We pass his stories down directly and indirectly, hand to hand, to each other, and to eyes and ears yet to be delighted by the stories, characters, and events contained within. I hope you enjoyed this riddle and the answer to it. Stay tuned for the winner announcement video, scheduled for around June 1st. Good luck, and thanks to all who answered these riddles. Until next time, farewell, and may the blessing of elves and men and all free folk go with you.